I think that is the point of this topic of ongoing education, is that idea of no matter what you're doing, no matter what industry you're in, there's got to be continued education. There's got to be growth, and there's always a lesson in education from whatever it is you're doing. Something that can be applied to education, but there's also always lessons from education that can be applied to what we're doing. My brother was sharing one of the religious texts that we, or semi-religious texts that we do every day. There's like a daily tidbit, so to speak. And recently it was from the Lubavitcher Rebbe, the founder of the Chabad Hasidic movement, and he compiled this book. And the one that came up a couple of days ago was how everybody has their purpose and they need to be pursuing that. I'm paraphrasing, but the metaphor that he used was somebody who is talented at polishing pearls should not be baking bread, and somebody who's talented at baking bread should not be polishing pearls. Like, do what you're meant to do. So I was looking into that in the sense of, okay, well, maybe I should just stay focused in teaching. And my brother said, maybe you should push further into coaching. So it was that interesting thing there. And the point of all of this is that there's a lesson for everything from everything. So for me, Yermi told this to me. He said, well, continue your coaching, but bring it from an educator's perspective. Mm-hmm. Okay, that there was a point there. I don't remember what it is. My brain's still catching up. But I'm going to throw it back at you. How did you see that transition? Like, what were the key factors, the guiding points that had you going from being in the business world to going into the education? And how do you see like the marriage between the two? Or we could just simply say, what is the importance of ongoing education, so that we kind of stay on track?
That's a great question. And I'm thinking of pearls and bread right now, but you got me. I'm here, man. I'm here. No, I mean, it was kind of twofold. I think one of the things was, as I went into entrepreneurship, again, I did not think I was going to be an entrepreneur until I worked for somebody else in the business. And I was like, well, I think we could do this better. And we tried, and we did it in certain ways. We did it better. And then certain ways. And it was a video production company, by the way. So it was back in the VHS beta days. And, we, took out a loan and did a lot of work. And the way I got the loan is I used to be the bartender at a country club. And one of the people there was a vice president of a bank. And he and I actually started a relationship talking about money and how does the whole thing work. And later on down the line, when I needed a loan, I called him up and I was like, he was a vice president of First Source Bank at the time. And he was like, well, bring me in what you need. And I brought in one sheet of paper with the prices of the things I need. And I sat it down. I'm like, write me a check. Yeah, okay, come on, right? And, any other banker who wouldn't have known me would have like, Peter, get out of here. No way. And he sat me down and wrote a business plan with me. And he actually outlined it. And he's like, you have to take this back and write it. And no lie, after 2 days, my business partner and I had 60 pages. Wow. It was insane. Wow. I'm like, I hate writing. Well, I love it now, but I hated writing when I was that young. And we came up with this big thing, and I was like, wow, this is so interesting. Now I'm writing because I love creating something. So that was one way that I saw it. And then the other way that I kind of got connected with this ongoing learning. And by the way, I had a business minor in college, and I never learned any of this, or maybe I just didn't listen. I don't know. But then I also, like, when I saw these young people, these third, fourth, and fifth graders really just actively learning and doing something, I was jealous. I was mad that I wasn't able to do that. So both of those things, you have a mentor piece over here. You have somebody walking you through things. And I was technically in my early 20s when everything. Right. And he walked us through that and really helped us. And then also seeing it on the other side and kind of getting out of the way, which he did as well, when he's like, go take it back and bring it back. We ended up getting the loan, by the way. And I think those are the two avenues that really struck me to connect business and just life skills, and bringing it into education, because I never ever thought about those things in high school.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, for me, the whole, like, I also came from the very business side of things. I grew up in entrepreneurship all my life and everything. And one of the jobs that I had when I knew I was getting let go, it was just the end of the contract and there was a merger going on, and I just knew that my name was on the short list. But the boss at the time comes up to me and he goes, you have a very strong knack for education. I see you one day becoming a principal of a school, he tells me. And I looked at him and I was like, why in the world would I do that? Like, why? Me, a principal of a school? I mean, I hated school when I was in school. I was good at it, but I hated it. And like, no, and I just was like, I never really understood that until I think it was 2019, I would venture to say, because it was right before the pandemic. And I was involved with a business school at the time, and there were all these teachers and there were all these like people there. And I was just about to graduate with my organizational psychology, master's in organizational psychology. And throughout all my research, I was discovering that it's going to be really hard to fix businesses at where they're at. Trying to go in and teaching, old dogs new tricks was going to be difficult. And there was this one opportunity where a group was kind of like breaking away from this school, and they wanted to build a system in a school, and they were just not happy with how they were teaching business in the school. So, hey, you're the business psychologist, could you help us out? So I was looking at them and I said, why shouldn't we try half-day theory and half-day practical? Let's throw the kids into real life. Let's see what happens. And it was a huge success. Unfortunately, the pandemic happened just then. And then that sort of fell apart because, in-person learning, and it wasn't going to work out through Zoom, and the company was too early stage. And so the company fell apart and whatever it was. But I learned from that experience that we are missing it in the educational world. And I wish I had that when I was growing up. I would have loved school a heck of a ton more. There's just that ongoing, like that something you could hold on to. And that's why I discovered that the older I got, the more I liked education, the more I liked learning.
Yeah.